Hey everyone, Joe Axman here, mediocre astrologer. Man, he's okay. What's up, everyone? In this video, I want to talk about Jews. Probably your favorite subject. I'm being sarcastic. Um, but I need to say some things, and it just has to be put on record. So I'm going to use my platform for that, because there's so much confusion, and myself being Jewish, my family being Jewish, I just have to put out some facts to clear up some lies and misinformation. I came across a Twitter post, which is common, that that parroted this very tired cliche stereotype that Jews are white and Jews don't like black people or Jews don't like brown people or whatever, right? And it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, because 60% of Israeli Jews are brown or black. It's a fact. Right. People don't like that. They don't want to admit that. They'd rather it not be the case. They'd rather all the Jews be European so that they could say, "Oh, you're stealing land," right? Give excuse to their lies, but it's just absolutely false. And I want to share the screen to look at that. Okay. All right. First of all, okay. So here we have this post where, Bull City Tonelero, nothing against this person individually. It's a common fabrication. People of color and Zionists are and always will be enemies. And will always be enemies. I mean, it's such a ridiculous, stupid thing to say. And here we have some lovely, beautiful Black Jewish Israelis dancing. 60% of Zionists are in Israel are people of color, blah, blah. Everyone's disagreeing with them. Everyone. Speak for yourself. This is a Palestinian treat. This is how they think of. By the way, Palestinians, I hate to lump people in big groups, but they do have a section in Gaza called Al Abid, which is where the black people live. They're supposed to live. I don't know. But here,
this is me,
listen.
The Zionist Israeli, the white colonialist settler occupier. When you describe Zionism as this white imperialist idea, you actively delete the history of Black and brown Jews. You dismiss our stories, struggle, and survival. You ignore the fact that the Zionist cause have built a safe home for Jews like us. When you think about Zionism, you probably think of Theodor Herzl, 1897, and the First Zionist Congress in Basel. But for me, I think about Abba Mahari, an Ethiopian Jewish monk that in 1862, 35 years before the Zionist Congress, have led many of my community in a journey from Ethiopia to Jerusalem by foot. The journey.
So that was sorry, just going back. 1862. People think that, the whole Israel thing started in 1948. People don't realize there was a long struggle from Jewish people way before then to create Israel and emigrate. A lot of people emigrated to Israel before 1948. A lot of Jews, they built it up and so forth, so on. Not just European Jews, but other Jews. Obviously, here we're seeing 1862 Ethiopians, Jews tried to make their way to Israel.
Years before the Zionist Congress, have led many of my community in a journey from Ethiopia to Jerusalem by foot. The journey wasn't successful and many people died. But what I take from this story is the amazing courage of my ancestors and pursuing the Zionist dream of living safely back in their homeland.
And just for clarity, Zionist dream, when she says Zionist dream, people get this kind of like weird, kind of crazy idea about Zionism. Once again, and I've said it before, Zionism simply is the support of Israel. And if you support Israel, you're a Zionist. If you think Israel should exist, you're a Zionist. And it's really not this oh, these awful Zionists are occupied. We have this like it's conditioned into our brain because the Muslims always say the evil Zionists, right? The Zionists is just support of Israel, right? Like you can support any country, and it's like being a patriot of Israel, and then you're a Zionist. It's like, why is that evil, right?
I think of my great-grandfather, Ermias Sesias, that in 1925 has studied here in Jerusalem, dreaming of the day of his children being able to live here. Unfortunately, he didn't live to see his dream come true. When you describe Zionism as this white idea, what you're saying, the only history that matters is the history that you perceive as white. You cancel the history of more than 50% of Israeli Jews that live here who are not white. But don't get me wrong, I'm used to the fact that my history is being dismissed and minimized. But it's especially hurtful when it comes from people who know exactly how it feels. When your history is being tossed aside, when your heroes are not being remembered.
Yeah. Israel took a daring mission back, I don't remember when, to rescue the persecuted Ethiopian Jews.
Way that Palestinian people and pro-Palestinian people love to use my skin color as an excuse to talk shit about my country. They are so in shock seeing a Black person supporting Israel. Let me tell you something. When I say I stand with Israel, I mean I stand with my right to exist. I stand with my family and my friends. I'm a Jewish woman. And the fact that you didn't even know there are Jewish Black people living in this earth is insane. And I was never converted to Judaism. I'm not adopted. I saw someone ask me in the comments if I'm adopted. No, I'm not. I was born Jewish to a Jewish mother. My mother, she's also a Jewish woman. She also was born to a Jewish mother. And all the way back, people are talking about how poorly Black people are treated in Israel and saying, well, they don't even like your girl. What are you doing there? Let me tell you something. When my grandparents lived all the way in Ethiopia, they were literally hunted and chased and hated just because they were Jews, just because of their religion. I live here.
People like to whitewash the past and be like, Jews were always treated well. It's bullshit. They're lying. I mean, it's just a straight lie. The Ethiopian Jews were persecuted by the non-Jews in Ethiopia, and the Israelis saved them. Right? So go fuck yourself if that's what you think.
Yeah, in Israel my whole life, and I never felt hated. I never felt hunted just because I'm Black. It's insane, right? And I know a lot of people gonna comment, go back to where you came from. But this is exactly what I did. I came back to where my Jewish ass belonged to. So I belong in this fucking land. And I do not give a shit what you have to say about that. I seriously do not give a shit about that.
Powerful stuff. This one's just singing, but it's another Black Jew. She's just singing two songs. So, there's something else here. Yeah, Jews are white people here. Like, oh, also Arabs are white too. There's a lot of white skin, blonde hair, blue-eyed Arabs, or I don't know what they call themselves, but they're in Arab countries, Muslims. Anyway, so there's that, right? A lot of Black Jews in Israel, and all right, so Ethiopian Jews, real thing, right? And part of the reason I wanted to make this video is this idea that, like, I mean, it's a very low IQ idea, like very stupid people are like, how could Jews be different colors? Ooh. Like, we're talking about thousands of years, and yeah, there's going to be intermarriage, right? Main thing is that the culture and the history and some lineage is carried on. That's what counts. When you have Ethiopian Jews, they look like Ethiopians. When you have Indian Jews, which there are Indian Jews, right? Indian Jews. In 2020, India was home to about 4,800 Jews. A lot of them immigrated to Israel, so there were many more in the past. Indian Jews look like Indians. Not there's many more. So there's Lemba Jews in southern Africa, right? This is a real thing. This is a scientific paper, right? And we have genetic evidence. And there's, by the way, genetic evidence of your Ashkenazi Jews also having Levant genetic origins. Lemba are a Southern African Bantu-speaking population claiming Jewish ancestry. The results suggest that greater than or equal to 50% of the Lemba Y chromosomes are Semitic in origin, right? 40% are Negroid. So what does that mean? It means that a group of people immigrated deep into Africa, and along the way they intermarried, but they kept their culture and they kept their lineage as well. And the same thing happened everywhere in the diaspora. See, these are Lemba Jews. They look like black Africans, no different, but they're Jewish. They have Jewish traditions. The same traditions that they have all the way up in, Russia Jews, Ukrainian Jews, Hungarian Jews, Polish Jews, right? Same exact thing as, Yemenite Jews, right? Brown Jews from Yemen, a lot of them. And then we have black Jews, more black Jews in Africa, African American, so Alliance of Black here, black, all right, Beta Israel, Ethiopian, Kachin Jews or Malabar Jews, community, Indian Jews, right? Abayudaya, a Jewish community that lives in Eastern Africa, Igbo Jews, Western Africa, Lemba, right? Southern Africa, Ghanaian Jews, right? So the diaspora is what I'm trying to get at. Obviously, I'm white-skinned, I'm European. My grandparents grew up in Hungary. My other grandparents were from originally Ukraine, right? But it's the diaspora, right? The culture, and the reason why we know that, I mean, besides genetic testing, we can test for genetics. Let me stop sharing. So the nature of Judaism is that Jews do not seek to convert other people to Judaism, right? It's insular. Jews have kids, those kids are Jewish, that's it, right? That's basically it. You can convert to Judaism, it's not that easy, and we don't seek converts, right? So the way you know it is because the culture, like if Northern European Jews and Southern African Jews share the same traditions for, thousands of years, despite not having, internet, telephone, whatever, communications, what does that mean? It means that they come from the same source. You can't just make this shit up. Like people are saying like, oh, the European Jews are Khazars. How would the Khazars know what to practice? Right? The European Jews had real Jewish practices, the same as all the other Jews. Where are they learning this? They're learning it from Jews who were already there. If there was there's a lot of debate whether it's true or not. There's a lot of lies about that. So but regardless, I'm saying it doesn't matter. If some Khazars did convert to Judaism, big fucking deal, right? The Jews were already there. How else would they know what to practice? And you can't just make this shit up. I think Jews do this and blah, blah, and have this kind of, you can't make up the Torah out of your head. Like, what are you, insane? Like, you can't just make up a whole religion out of, cloth and have it be the same exact thing from people who are practicing thousands of miles away. It's absurd, right? The way it happens is very simple: interbreeding, intermarriage. I'll just tell you a quick story. My grandmother's Jewish, comes from a traditionally Jewish family, my mother's mother in Hungary. And for whatever reason, she married a Christian guy, my grandfather. My mother's father is not Jewish, he's Christian, right? He was an orphan. And what little family he did have didn't treat him very well, and weren't that, I don't know, but he met my grandmother, and her family became his family, basically. They took him in, right? They met when they were young, and they survived the Holocaust in Hungary and then moved to Israel, right? But Israel was a safe haven for a lot of Jews. And so that's one of the important things about Israel. Without Israel, a lot of these Jews would still be persecuted, and it would not be good, right? Yeah, so the intermarriage, right, is what I'm trying to get at. Like you carry that over. Fiddler on the Roof had a similar, a theme about that, like the intermarriage, right? It happens, and you can still retain the culture that way. You mix genetics, you retain the culture, you retain the religion, and you carry on, and it goes on like that for generations. Happens everywhere, right? Why do Indian Jews look like Indian? Why do South African Jews look South African? Why do European Jews look European? Right? It's just that simple thing. But there's still the genetic tie. Lemma Jews have, 50% Semitic, chromosomes, right? And I don't know what percentage Ashkenazi Jews have it, but they do. My mother got tested. She has Semitic, Jewish, DNA, whatever, genetics, right? And you can go down the line and check all the Jews, they will have it. And I mean, just on a, logical basis, we know that because the culture is carried, and Jews don't convert, that's a direct clue that this is a lineage, this is the direct line, right? It's like from one's center, Judea, it's spread out. That's why it's called the diaspora. Some went north, some went east, some went south, and that's the way it goes, right? So that's the reality of the Jewish people, and some stayed in Israel. By the way, there was a group that never left Israel. There were a lot of Jews in Israel. There were a lot of Jews in Israel before Israel was created, right? A lot of Jews were building it up. A lot of Jews stayed. A lot of Jews came. A lot of Palestinians came too when they saw the Jews building it up, but I already talked about that. But anyway, this was just about the color, this idea that Israel is all white and, white Jews are not real Jews. It's all this nonsense, bullshit, right? Also, this idea that if you're black, you're the real Jews, when there are black Jews, but not all black people are Jews, right? It's stupid. It's stupid. Like, they're real black Jews, and like you can just be like, I'm black, I'm the real Jew. No, it's not. Black skin doesn't make you Jewish, right? You're Jewish if you're Jewish. So anyway, that was like the whole black Israelite thing, and Kanye West saying he's a Jew. He's not a Jew. He's not a fucking Jew. Right? He's just a jerk. He's a Gemini, and he gets in trouble with his mouth, same as me. I understand, but he needs to haul it in a bit. Which he did. He apologized to the Jews, and everyone's like, "Oh, please give me a break, Kanye." Like, who wrote that for you, right? Anyway, he's got a new album coming out, so I think that's probably why. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Israel is not white, right? And it's not like only white ruled. There are plenty of brown and black and Arab people in the government too. It's like 20% of Israel is Arabic Muslim, right? It's not just Jewish. Yeah, people don't know that either. And these Arab Muslims do have full rights. They can work in government, they can work in every sector, and they do. And they fight in the army, all of it, right? So again, this lie, Israel is white European, nonsense. 60%, once again, 60% of the Jews are not even European in Israel. And then of the total population, 20% are Arabic Muslim. So even there. So it's like Jews are white European Jews are the minority in Israel. They are. It's a fact, right? So anyway. That's pretty much it for this. So I needed to say it. It has to be said. So yeah, I need to clear up some of the lies and confusion, and it's just people love to lie about Jews. Anyway, that's it for now. Mediocre astrologer signing off. Man, he's okay. We're all okay. Everyone's okay. Laugh it off, guys. Have fun. Take a victory laugh, and be well, be happy, and hit that like button. I'll see you next time. All right, bye.